invite Haley Slifka to come up on stage with me. And Haley has recently come back from the trip to Guatemala with Impacto Ministries. And so I wanted to take some time and just allow her to share with us a bit about that trip and that sort of thing. So I like to do this interview format because sometimes when people get up here, they forget what they were going to say. And so this kind of helps us get to some of that. But so first of all, tell me, you're thinking about, okay, should I go, shouldn't I go? Were you nervous? Were you scared about this trip? What was the process of getting to the point where you said, yes, I'm going on this trip? What did that look like for you?
Okay, for me, it's always an easy yes. I want to go on the trip. But then leading up to the trip, I get some sort of anxiety going on. And much like you see right now, can you see my heart pounding? So normally I'm like, yes, I'm excited, no nerves until maybe the day before, the weekend before. I don't know if you guys were here when we were praying for the trip the week prior to, but I was a wreck. I was a wreck.
Yeah, what was it that you were nervous about or scared about or?
You know, I don't know. I think that God works in mysterious ways, and I think that Satan works in mysterious ways, and I think that he will use anything that he can to keep you from going to do his will.
Yeah. So, one thing that we value here at Hillside, that we kind of, everything we filter things through is relational. We want to do ministries, but we want some kind of relationship connection and that sort of thing. So here you are, you're going to Guatemala, right? So not just next door. How does this trip and Impacto and all that, how does that fit within our relationship kind of filter as well?
Well, thankfully, we have Chris and Annette here who have developed the most amazing relationship with the Impacto staff over in Guatemala. And they are, all hands on deck all year round, serving teams, serving their community. And so we get the opportunity once a year, and the Reeds twice a year, to go down.
You seem jealous about that.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. But so we get the opportunity to go down there and serve with them. But what you notice when you go down there is they're not just serving their community, they're serving you. Like the entire time you're there, they're making you feel like $1 million. And they don't know what $1 million is like, I mean, you go down there and they're doing devotionals with you in the morning and they're cooking for you. They're making sure that you're comfortable. And I'm sorry, but a mission trip, when you think about it, is not going down and being comfortable somewhere. It's going down and getting work done. And so that's what I love about this mission trip is it has become so relational. That you do come home and you continue to pray for people there and you wonder how they're doing. And I think that's the reason why I want to always go back every single year.
So along those lines, so it's not like we go down and 10 years later we go back and that sort of thing. So there's that relationships and connections that we have. But then this year you had the experience of being able to connect some dots from a previous trip as well. Tell us a little bit about that. I don't want to steal all the thunder. So first slide, I don't have my clicker, so there you go.
Okay, so this picture is from 2 years ago, and those are two of my friends, Roy and Alicia, and they came on the trip with us, and they live in Elberon, and she's actually the fire chief there, and they're both on the ambulance team. And so we had our first annual community game night in Guatemala. And so it was Impacto reaching out to community members who maybe don't normally go to a church, inviting them into the church to play games. And every team won prizes. So we each kind of took one game, and they would go around to stations, and you would get to kind of play the game with them and get to know them. And so there was a team of firefighters. And so Roy and Alicia were pretty interested in what the fire team looked like there and what the paramedics team looked like there. So they actually got to go and look at where they work out of and their ambulance and just see kind of what they have to work with, which was not much. And so they came back and they've continued to talk to them through Facebook. I know that's weird, but and just asking them, like, what are your needs? Like, what do you need in your ambulance? And so this year, when we went back, we had our second annual community game night, and the firefighter came back that we had met the previous year. And Roy and Alicia had sent a whole suitcase full of supplies that they needed for their ambulance. And so, I mean, you just think about that. You think about somebody coming from another country 1 year, and okay, fine, they're here, that's nice. But the fact that they remembered them throughout the year and brought supplies the next year, like,
Yeah.
that's a huge impact for him. And he may not go to church, but I can guarantee you that at that game night, he felt the presence of God and he heard a message of God saving him. And, like, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, and so that third picture, go ahead and put that third picture up. So that's you and being able to deliver a suitcase full of stuff. And from what I've been told, you guys got the grand tour and got to hear some amazing stories, but also to hear his heart of how much he appreciated, just, yes, the supplies, but the thought that, oh my goodness, here are people who continue to think about me, continue to interact with me throughout the year. And so it's a long-distance relationship, but it's still a relationship.
Right, and yeah, Chris and Aiden and I went with Tony, and we were going to drop the supplies off and head over to Happy Tummies. Well, 3 hours later, we missed Happy Tummies. But what we were able to do is he was so excited, and he shared all of the pictures against all of the HIPAA Privacy Act and every story he could possibly remember to us. And just taking the time to listen to him, I think, just meant the world to him. And it may have been a little bit uncomfortable for a couple of us, but it was just really neat to be in that moment with him.
Yeah, and don't you think, here in America, if this trip took place here, we would have on our schedule, we're stopping by the fire station, we're dropping off the supplies, then we're heading to Happy Tummies, which, if you don't know what Happy Tummies is, it's where a gazillion kids come to a kitchen that's off of a church typically, and they feed the kids and more. I mean, it's amazing ministry. But so our schedule would be drop off the supplies, get the Happy Tummies, and just move on. But you're in Guatemala. So the schedules in Guatemala tend to be, this is what we might be doing to start the day, and this might be what happens and when. But to have the opportunity to just say, I'm sure there might have been, and I wasn't there, but there might have been a time when you and Chris are kind of thinking, hey, we got to get going, and Tony's like, no, because Tony's from Guatemala, so he's part of Impacto. It's like, no, this is great. A lesson we could learn here, because that relationship grew because you weren't so stuck to that schedule. And sometimes that's something we can bring back here is, okay, sometimes we need to forget what we had planned and just be in the moment. And yeah. So I mean, anytime you talk about Impacto, you're just like, yes, right? You gotta go. But if there's someone who hasn't been on a trip with us to Impacto down in Guatemala, and they're nervous or they're on the fence, what would you say to convince them, not push them off the fence, but to guide them into, yeah, this is something you should experience?
I would say if you've ever considered it and you haven't gone, to just go, just commit. This is, you leave your world behind here and get away for a week. Darn it, I was doing so good. You should have stuck to the script.
Sorry.
Guys, we just get so focused here on what we have to do. We don't have to do anything. we don't have to do anything but love people. And we kind of suck at it here, guys. We kind of suck. Oh. You know, and we have these opportunities here, but we're so busy with work and sports and all of the things. And, you know, I'm just as convicted as the other person, but it's just get away for a week. Go serve with Impacto. They're going to just like light up your world. It's going to give you a totally different perspective. You're going to come home. You're going to hate America for the first week because we're so focused on the wrong things. But I do, and even if you have never even considered it, think about it, pray about it, talk to other people about it. It's so good for you. It is so good for you.
Yeah. Thanks, Nicole.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, so you can either step back. I can't see Haley now. There you go. So, obviously, super impactful. Obviously, even though you've been there before, it still had the same impact. And, you know, I think it's awesome just how you shared of, hey, the one thing I really love about these opportunities is it's not about us going down and solving the problems in Guatemala. It's about us truly going down and having a family reunion and being thrilled to death to see our partners in ministry and coming alongside them to help them accomplish what they're trying to accomplish while we learn from them things that we can bring back here, and which is an amazing thing for us. So, yeah, I think any last, I know that story was, the firefighters was a great thing, but any final, like, hey, this was another highlight that you want to share from the trip that, and it doesn't have to even be super spiritual. Just, man, this was awesome, and if you go, you could experience this kind of thing as well.
One of the other really cool things that we did this year is during the Abuelitos time, we did not have anything prepared.
Okay, hang on.
Oh,
so what is that?
Sorry, Abuelitos is a program that there's the elderly people in the community who don't usually get food or whatever. They come in the morning and they get a meal. They usually do like a Bible story or craft, some exercises, play soccer. They're 80 years old, whatever. So usually we come prepared with a lesson, but sadly enough, Julie couldn't come because she was not able to this year. So we didn't have a lesson. So we went into Abuelitos and we were like, tell us about your lives. And those people were so excited to tell us about their lives. And we had our own little small group with the Abuelitos. And they shared things and frustrations with us. And we were able to help try and encourage them, and they encouraged us. And it was just a really cool moment. Because we do that with our friends here, you know, or you should if you don't. If you don't, you can come by on Sunday mornings downstairs at 9 o'clock and do that with us. But you should do it. I mean, you should get together with a small group of people who you can trust and share your frustrations with, and just, you know, be in the presence of other believers so that you can be encouraged.
Yeah, and I love, there again, it's another relationship thing. You know, it wasn't just, okay, you had your meal and all that, great. Now we brought down this message and we're going to share it with you, and then we're just going to leave. It was, man, we pulled an audible and went right back to relationships, and that's really awesome. So, well, awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing with us about the Guatemala trip, and we're going to be doing another one next year, and typically in February, correct? Yep. So if you have never been down to Guatemala on one of these trips, I would encourage you to definitely be thinking about it and praying about it. My understanding, though, this year, one of the big highlights didn't happen. You guys didn't have to take the bus on that mountain road, or did
we
you guys? Did you guys? Oh, I thought you guys were going to just do vans. So
We did too. We thought we were going to
fantastic.
be in a van, and we were all pouty, and then the bus showed up, so we were happy.
Yeah. So
Plans change.
the bus in itself is fun, but the trip down the mountain on the bus, that's all I'm going to say. If you haven't experienced it and you want to find out what I'm talking about, then you need to go down to Guatemala, and it's a great time.
And I do want to put in one more shameless plug. I talked a lot about the community game night that they had in Guatemala. Last year, we had like 6 teams show up from the community, and this year we had 16 teams.
Wow.
Of people from their community that showed up to the church for this game night. We do a lot of talking during devotionals and stuff. Some of us think that might be a really good idea if we would maybe talk to God and other people in our church and maybe consider having a community game night here at Hillside. And maybe we could hand out flyers at the carnival that we're going to on May 17th if it happened to work out that way. But just any way that we can be in contact with the community is just going to benefit the kingdom greatly.
Yeah, great. And thank you for going rogue. And but yeah, thank you. Let's give Haley a hand. Thank you. Well, yeah, this is one of the things, our connection and relationship with Impacto is one of the things that we for sure want to keep going on here at Hillside. It is just a powerful ministry. And what I love about it is every time we send a team down, when they come back, it is the encouragement and what they've learned to bring back. And I love that. I've been a part of so many trips that it's about us going down and, fixing everything or whatever. But this is a true partnership that we have, and I just love that, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.